morning, friends. This is Laura with Potpourri of Life. Right now, I'm just getting some things ready. I'm getting a hot beverage ready, and then I'm going to start making a stew of some sort, whatever this meat is that I pulled out of the freezer. And what I'm having this morning is it's mushroom hot chocolate blend. I don't know if you've ever had it before, but it tastes pretty good. But it's supposed to support focus, immunity, and stress balance. I'm actually not feeling stressed, but I was up at like 3:30, and then I was trying to decide, what am I going, my focus, because we have a storm coming in, a winter storm. I don't generally get too much in a tizzy about it because we're in New England. And then they start telling us that the last time I saw, and I haven't checked yet this morning, that it's going to be about 3 inches and then maybe 3 inches again tomorrow. So it will require some cleanup and stuff. The only part that I worry about is my husband's traveling. That's pretty much all I worry about, because I don't know why that people just haven't learned how to drive here in New England, but they don't. They're not very focused. They need some This is going to be a weird video because I am still tired. So what I'm doing is I decided, instead of just laying there thinking about my day, what am I going to do? I decided that I'm going to get a stew going because I have some things I want to do. I've been kind of cleaning out the coop a little bit, little by little, because they make it a mess all the time. But I just thought, well, I want to get more stuff in there to keep them warm because it's going to be like this for the next couple of days. So I want to get out there, clean the coop out as early as possible. But not right now. It's pretty dark outside. So what I'm doing first is I'm actually putting some olive oil into my crock pot. And then I went downstairs half tired. I've got some boneless pork for stew. It's all cut up and it's frozen. This is why I start my stuff really early, because if it's frozen, I can then let it cook all day. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this started. Well, I'm going to let it sit there for a moment. Or not. Hold on. One of the nice features of when my husband redid our kitchen, I have outlets everywhere, because when we first moved in, there were no outlets except for in 2 places, and then we would have to go get extension cords. So I am so grateful he did that for me. Alright, so what I am going to do is, I've got a towel here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I've got the pork in there, and then I'm going to already get the, I'm going to get my veggie broth that is all set, that I've made this past summer from all my scraps that I had. Today I'm going to throw the scrap, I don't know, maybe I'll give it to the chickens, maybe I'll keep it. Like I said, it's going to be a weird video because it's really early and my thinking cap isn't quite on yet. And David is sleeping, so I'm trying to get this done. When he gets up, he'll help me out once he has his cup of coffee. We'll go outside and we'll get going. So that's a veggie broth, a quart of veggie broth, and what I'm going to do also is I'll add some more water in, the filtered water. And the filter is going a little slow. So I kind of like getting this, I won't put all of it in just in case I don't have room. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start preparing some of the vegetables. My beef stews, this is pork, they're all very, very simple. I throw in the meat, I chop up the vegetables, I throw them in, and it's pretty much done. So as I get this going, I will do a little chit chat. That's not going to work. And yet, you know me, I don't talk too much when I'm focused, but I haven't even had a sip of that focus blend yet. But even when I'm tired, I don't talk too much. I have to wake up. I remember when the kids were little, I would get up before them. And, you know, because we were homeschooled, or I would have sewing jobs to do and stuff. And so I would be up, and I would have my quiet time before they all got up. And I didn't drink coffee at all back then. And so what I would do is I would have my quiet time. I would do a little bit of Bible study. I'd get up and just have my quiet time. So by the time they got out of bed, I was perky. And as they got older and into high school or college or whenever they were home and stuff, I was really perky. And they would just, one of them would go, "Quiet down, Mom." Settle down. And but I do like the morning time because it's very quiet. Nothing's happening. Sometimes as the lights come up outside, I'll see bears walking by. And yeah, we live in a suburban area, but it's really kind of exciting, excuse me, to see the bears. And I know a lot of residents don't like it. But it's just one of those things. We're in nature. We've taken all their homes, and this is my philosophy, and other people might not agree with me, but we've taken their homes. We keep building and building and building, and they have no place to go. So, you know, it's up to us as to how we have a balance in this world. And, you know, if we're going to be unkind to those animals, then that's bad on us. Now, do I want to go out there and meet them head face on? No, I don't think so. But I just let them be. Now, if I see one out there, I might turn the light on to deter them. But right now, I don't really worry about it too much. Let me get a vegetable peeler. I redid my kitchen drawers the other day because I was like, oh, I got too much stuff. So I went through and I downsized a little bit. So I put everything back, and my husband came home and he was doing something. He goes, "Where's the can opener?" I said, "I don't know. It's in one of those drawers." And just now with the vegetable peeler, I'm like, oops, I forgot where I put it. But I found it. And I actually like how I set it up. But I haven't been peeling vegetables in the last couple days after I've done it. I've just been doing other things. So, you know, making a salad, I don't need a vegetable peeler or anything like that. So, and I don't know if you guys saw the video that I made for, it was just a video or two ago, where I made an ointment for Charlie horses. Well, there's a gentleman at my husband's work who he was in an accident, and he has bad Charlie horses at night. So I sent in a small batch, just kind of like a sample to see how it would work. And it was really kind of nice. My husband called and he goes, "Laura, I got some great news." My response is always, "Oh, you got a raise?" Every single time. He's got to learn not to say that. But anyways, what it was he goes, "Hey, my friend here, he tried the ointment last night, and he said it worked." And because he woke up with the Charlie horse pain, and And after putting the ointment on, it wasn't that much longer before the pain was gone. Went back to bed, and a little bit later, the other leg cramped up on him. But it was really nice to know that an ointment that I make, you know, did something holistically instead of him having to go to the store, you know, to buy something that has all kinds of other stuff in it. So I felt pretty good, and I agree. My husband says, you know, this is good news. I said, it really is. And sometimes I do that if I'm making something new or it's the first batch or something and I know somebody's in pain. That's something I might do. I might just gift it so that they can try it and see if it's something that they can use. Now, I don't give everything away. I've learned not to. But sometimes people just need a little TLC to say, hey, we don't like to see you in that kind of pain. So that's a nice thing to do. And no, I'm not patting myself on the back, or am I? I was just really thrilled that something that I do for David and I made a difference in somebody else's life. And I don't even know this fella. And that is fine with me. You don't have to always know the people that you might be helping. But I also, with that ointment, and this is the magnesium ointment that I made, the lotion, I also told my husband, because where he worked prior to the job he has now, he used to have to use his hands to put things on. And I walked in one time and I said, what are you doing? You're going to have arthritis in your hands. And even his supervisor says, oh, they'll be fine. Well, David has had pain in his hands for a long time now. And so I asked him to put that on his hands, and he says it's doing good. And then I had him put comfrey with it. I have a comfrey ointment along with the magnesium ointment, and his hands were doing much better yesterday. So it's always nice to know how something is doing when we are trying something new to kind of heal a wound, whether from as we get older, wear and tear from things that we've done with our jobs, or just everyday life. So that was kind of refreshing for me to hear. I knew it would be fine. I had the confidence, but I don't always give my remedies away to somebody else to use. But I told David, just tell him if he doesn't like it, it's fine. And I just wanted him to try it, because if it made a difference, my goodness, it's just so nice to have an answer. And he did watch that video, and he went out to, I guess he's going to go out today or something to get the tonic water with quinine. And so if you haven't seen that, make sure you go back to that video, because it's very resourceful. I mean, it's long. I think it's like 45 minutes, but there's a lot of information. It shares why you might have Charlie horses. It talks about the different things that you can do to prevent it, but also what you can do to help alleviate it. And one of the things was making this ointment, and I show you how to make the ointment if you don't want to buy it. So that's kind of a cool thing. So what I'm doing today, right now, I'm just peeling carrots. I don't know if you can see that in the video. I'm kind of like using this time right now as I prepare this, just kind of like a chit chat, and it won't take me very long to do this. I'm just gonna get a few carrots in here, some potatoes. I've already got the onion. I got the veggie broth from the other vegetables, and I actually think the chickens are gonna like this. They do like onions, and I find that not all other people have shared what their chickens like. My chickens aren't the normal chickens. So what I'll do is I'll get this stuff all set, and then by the time my husband gets up, we'll be able to go right out and start working on the coop, because once we open the door to their coop, they come running out. And because we have their grains and all the stuff, the food that we have for them. And I don't normally give them stuff from the cuttings here until late midday, but they're going to get it early. But as they're outside, because at that point they won't be laying their eggs, there's a time where they lay them, and I think I'll be safe. I'll go into their coop, I'll clean it all out. I'll put more, I think we're using straw right now, and we'll fill their coop up with some straw because, you know, I keep cleaning it out because, you know, they're on their little perches and nature takes course. So I have to get out there and clean it daily. So I'm going to just clean it out completely and scrub it down, and then allow them to kind of go back to a nice, it's almost like changing your linens on your sheets on the weekend or something like that. But this will be a small stew. It might serve us 2 meals. And I like getting these done. Usually I might start it late morning. But now that I have the chicken, sometimes I just get up and I start things really early because that's what needs to happen. And then there are days I don't want to get up and I kind of sleep. But today was one of those days that I just got up and it was like, okay, time to make the coffee. And I'm not having coffee. Actually, I want to get some of this in. This hot cocoa that I'm drinking, it's okay. It's not your typical hot cocoa that everybody enjoys. It has that dark chocolate flavor that I can have, and it doesn't upset my stomach or anything. So and it doesn't give me headaches, because I found that chocolate gives me headaches, but dark chocolate doesn't, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I won't want that to go bad. So some other things that I'm going to be doing today, or I hope to, is I have some other sewing projects that I want to complete. And the other thing I did this morning is I made a list of the items that we need. There's a bulb, light bulb that needs to be changed, and I need some batteries changed and some other backup lighting. So those will be things that I'll give to my husband, the list that I'll give to my husband and say, this is what we need to have done. Now, can I do that? Absolutely, I can do that stuff. But it's something that he does for me. And like some of the lights, there's a light above the sink. One of them, the bulb is dead. So it just makes it easier because, for those of you who know that I have Lyme disease, and I don't mean to always talk about it, but I have a hard time sometimes, you know, going up and down, and I can do it. I got step stools and everything else. But he also doesn't mind helping me in that way because, you know, I get up and I start making dinners. I bake them bread for lunch and that kind of stuff. And it, you know, that was one thing that crossed my mind this morning. You know, last night I was asked, you know, do you consider yourself a prepper or do you consider yourself a homesteader or freesteader? And I just, you know, I really don't know how to actually answer that because, like I told him, I said, well, I'm on a 1/4 acre lot. How can you be a homesteader? You know, I can't have a cow. I can't have, you know, I can have chickens. I can have bunnies, which I hope to get. But you know, it's like I wasn't sure. And then, you know, but when you stop and think about all the things that you do and the things that my granny taught me and stuff like that, you stop and think that, yeah, you are kind of a homesteader. Not a homebody. And there's a big difference because even on my bad Lyme days, I still get up and I do stuff because it has to be done. And, but it was kind of an interesting question because I wasn't sure how to answer it. And so I think because I've always been one, you know, to make things ahead of time, freeze it, can it, if I had the resources to get produce or grow it and stuff, I would do that. And I thought, you know, that's kind of normal. But after talking to him, and that's why I couldn't sleep, I guess, it just made me stop and think that it's okay to be a homesteader, and and I actually kind of like it. And I have been thinking of myself as that for quite some time. I just haven't really verbalized it in a sense. And one thing he said to me, he says, even on a 1/4 acre lot, you can still be a homesteader. And, you know, you don't have to have tons of everything. But what you can do, you know, is you can barter with other people that are doing things. And the reason I want rabbits is because their droppings, their little raisinets, they're actually really good for compost, and they're ready, they're immediately available, whereas chickens need theirs kind of, unless you spread it out and stuff and let it dry really good, theirs usually takes a year or two before you can use it in your gardens. So I kind of would like to get some rabbits, and the reason I know it is actually from personal experience. Our girls were homeschooled, and in doing so, one time both the older two, they wanted to have rabbits. I said, okay, fine. Our oldest and her friend came to us and her parents and said, hey, can we mate our rabbits? Because her friend had a boy, and, or was it the other way around? Heather ended up with a lot of different rabbits. But their pellets, their little contributions, their little raisinets, they made our garden. The flowers were just phenomenal. And in one of the areas that we had them, where we composted them in, that garden still grows really well. But I would just like to get a couple of rabbits, and that's kind of the reason I want them. But I also would like them for a meat animal too. My husband doesn't want that, so we'll see. Let's see if I can convince him. Or I'm just going to have to take courses on how to dress a rabbit. But I'm really happy with how the chickens are doing. And, you know, sometimes we have these animals and they're kind of like therapy for us, if you know what I mean. When you have, you know, your kids are all grown and you need to take care of you, having the animals has been helpful, because even with the Lyme disease, and by the way, I'm doing far better than I did when I was finally diagnosed. Those bad days, I have a purpose to get up. I have a reason. And I can go back to bed after, but I don't have to. And so I'm just kind of surprised I'm up this early, and I'm really chitty chatty. So what I've got going here is, what I'll do is I'll have these vegetables in there. And let me see, I'm thinking about putting a sweet potato in there. Because right now I've got onions, the stew beef from pork, carrots. Okay, onions, potatoes, carrots, and the stew meat. But I'm thinking about putting a sweet potato in there. I happen to like potatoes anyway, so. And then I got the veggie broth that I made from all the peelings from this summer. I have to get a different peeler for the sweet potato. I find it interesting that I can't use the same peeler. Like I use this peeler for my potatoes and carrots. I use this one for the sweet potato because, I don't know why, because like when I go and I peel like this, it just goes a lot easier, at least for me. And I love this peeler. I have to go and see if I can get replacements for both, because I don't want to live without them if they broke. But have you checked the prices of peelers? I was looking at them a little while back, and that's why I haven't replaced it yet. But I have to go and do that, because as we get geared up for vegetable gardening, you know, I want to be able to take care of the vegetables right away. Now these sweet potatoes came from the farm stand that I go to, and they're open today, and I was going to go up there, but then when they said the storm was going to be coming in, I decided, I better not. I have plenty of food in the house. I don't know about in your area, wherever you live, but here in New Hampshire, if there's a storm, I guess that's the most opportune time to go grocery shopping. I stay away from the stores, even if I need a gallon of milk. I tell David, I said, hey, I got backup milk. Do not go to the store. So I'm going to put some sweet potatoes in here. I really like sweet potatoes. And I'm finding that I like them more and more over the other potatoes. Like I put red potatoes in there today, and I left the skins on for the most part because I like the red potato skins. Now when I made the veggie broth, I'm not going to put any seasonings in right now because there were some seasonings that I put in with it. I might put some salt in though. Sorry, this is getting to where I need my muscles. I might put some salt in there just because I do not put salt in a lot of things that I preserve. I put just a little bit, and I think this might want a little bit more salt. Okay. So I just get this started, and then as I get closer to when it's time to finish, as it's, you know, everything's all cooked up, I'll go and I'll get some peas out of the freezer, and then I'll be done kind of like cooking this. And I haven't decided what kind of bread I'm going to make. I was thinking about making something with sweet potatoes because I brought up 2 large potatoes and just boil it up and consider doing that. But I haven't really finished deciding yet what I want to do. There was there's a gentleman, Danny from Deep South Homestead. He made this cutting tool, and I need my husband to make it. I bought the stuff. Actually, I already had it on hand, and so that I could cut this without this much difficulty. So, but we've been so busy. And I had it before the fall, before David's dad passed, but a lot of the projects we had in motion they haven't occurred yet. So, but I think as things settle down, it'll come to fruition really soon, I hope. Okay, this is almost done. But I look at it this way: if I have to work this hard and use my muscles, it's good exercise. As we get older, sometimes it's hard to realize that, hey, I'm getting weaker, or how about if you can't get up as easy. So when I do stuff like this, it makes me realize that, yep, keep on exercising because it's the thing that's going to keep you going as you get older. All right. I don't know if my chickens like sweet potatoes, but I'm going to give it to them and see if they do. I try to give them pretty much anything. I look it up first to make sure. And some people say they like peppers, some don't. My chickens are not that fuzzy. They love onions. Their favorite onion is a red onion. I didn't use a red onion today. I'm going to get some more water here. So I put a quart of veggie broth in there and then a quart of filtered water. And this is going to work for itself today in terms of this is all done. It's 4:45 in the morning. And as long as this is, I didn't want to put it on high, it was on low. Get that going, and then maybe by noontime I'll have that ready. And if not, I'll just keep it simmering all day until dinner time. But that's kind of how I make my stews, whatever. And I'll pull out, like I said, I'll pull out the peas later. Had I not had any onions on hand, I would have taken the onions from the freezer and thrown them in. But I also have onions in jars. And the other thing that I can put in here is, I'll make sure I go get some celery. I canned up some celery, and I can throw that in there. Although my husband does not like celery. He doesn't. I can make things with celery in it, but he won't eat it, and I want him to have some of this. So I'm not sure what kind of storm is going to come in. I'm kind of curious because, you know, it's a big hype. Our phones have these little announcements, winter storm coming in. And the other day I went and I looked to see what was the forecast for. It's supposed to be Thursday and Friday, and last night when my husband called, he says, "Yeah, we got a winter storm warning because all the signs on the highway are flashing it." And I said, "Yeah, but it's not going to be that bad." He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, 3 to 5 inches. And I said, "We know how to drive through that." The problem is most people don't. And I alluded to that earlier. One of the things that is really kind of remarkable, here we are in New Hampshire, in New England, where we usually get a lot of snow. And this year we really haven't. We've gotten a little bit, but nothing to amount to anything. I think we've shoveled once. But people just don't seem to be smart all of a sudden when they're driving. They pull out, even if the roads are not slippery. And I get it when the roads are slippery because sometimes you can't stop. I get that. But I just kind of have a problem with how crazy people are. And they, even in good weather, residents around here just cut people off. So, you know, when they say to be defensive driver, you really need to be, because people just aren't thinking sometimes. And you know what, I don't want to say that they're stupid, because even when I was right in the midst of the worst part of Lyme disease, I actually did not like driving because my response time was off. And so my heart goes out to maybe something else is going on, but it just seems like there's a lot of people. So when I know there's a winter storm, I just stay, you know, don't even worry about it. I just stay home. I don't cancel doctor's appointments or anything like that if I have them, because I just leave earlier to get there. But if I don't have to go out, I don't. And because there's no need, I try to make sure that if we have, you know, if I know storms coming in, I make sure we have food on hand. Plus, I try to make use of what I have, you know, in our, like the canned broth. That is so awesome to know that I have that. Now, the carrots I bought the other day, the potatoes I bought at the farm a few weeks back, and the onions I did too. I'm watching them because I don't want them to go. I just got just a small bag, so I have them as fresh onions, but I also dehydrated onions this past winter, or past summer. Sorry, it's still early. It hasn't caught up to me yet. They say it will focus. We'll find out. So the onions, they look great, and so I could have thrown them in, but I had the onions and I don't want them to go bad. And that's one thing that, more so as the economy is just changing and stuff and things are just so expensive, I don't want to throw things out into the compost. If I have to send anything out like peelings, they can go to the chickens or they go back into the freezer so I can make more vegetable broth. And when I was downstairs, I noticed that I still had a big bag. I just take the bags, you know, the plastic bags you might get at the grocers, if they give them to me, because I tend to bring my own bags and then I ask them for paper bags, because we end up inundated with plastic all over the place and it drives me nuts. But so I just take one of those and I throw all the scraps in it, and then I rinse them off and throw them in, and I just cook them down, and I make a beautiful veggie broth. And sometimes if I have the bones, or I've been known to use, and not mine, I've been known to purchase chicken feet, because you want the collagen and all that other stuff, which is really good. I have to be careful, don't want to turn the stove on. So you want to get the collagen, you want to get all the nutrients from the bones and stuff. So I think it's really good. I do label what's veggie, so if I'm ever cooking something for somebody else that's a vegan, I at least know which broth to use. And they do say that eating vegetarian is the best, and all vegetable meal. I can't think this morning. They say that it's not good to eat meat, but you know what? When I don't have protein from meat sources, I don't feel good. And I don't, maybe it's because I'm used to it, I don't know, but when I don't feel good and I'm feeling dizzy and lightheaded, the first thing I crave usually is a protein, and I'll want a steak. So I don't know if I have any steaks left in the freezer. I've been trying to clean up the freezer so that this summer, if our garden goes really well, we'll be able to put some in the freezer. If with the veggies and stuff, like the tomatoes, sometimes they come in you get a few at a time, and then you end up with hordes of them. So it's just easier to just kind of fill up your freezer with them, and then when you have enough, you can make the ketchup, the sauces, and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyways, I am really chatty today, and I'm just gonna go. This is all set, it's taking care of itself. I'll come back in later, and I won't be back on the camera for it, but I'll come back in later, add some more seasonings, and I'll actually add in the peas for later too. And in the meantime, I can decide, am I gonna make a bread with sweet potatoes or what? That's one of the things my husband says, you're gonna make bread with sweet potatoes? I said, yeah. I says, I've been watching somebody who makes it, so I want to be able to try that. And I'm going to go through my cookbooks, and on a stormy day, it's kind of a fun thing for me to do, is kind of go through my files, go through the cookbooks and stuff. But let's see, it's 5 o'clock. I don't expect to partner up until, he's probably not going to get up till 6 or 7, but at least I have this part done, and I don't have to worry about that. And when he gets up and he's had his coffee, we'll go out and make sure everything is all set for the chickens. And then I get to stay inside until I go out and visit them like twice a day. But I have a feeling if the snow does come in, even if it's just 3 inches, I'll have to make sure that I brush it, shovel it out of the way so that I can have my path out to them. So that's just part of life. Normally I wouldn't care. If we didn't have the chickens, I'd just let it snow. And then when it stopped, go out there and clean. My husband doesn't like me to clean because of my back, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. You can't get out your door, you kind of have to keep it shoveled. So, and then sometimes our neighbor might come over and help, but I don't like to depend on that, because what if he's not feeling good? So we have to kind of give and take, and we're very fortunate. We have a real good neighbor, and when we can help him with the shoveling, we do, and the vice versa. And it's actually worked out kind of nice. Not something we planned, it just happened. And I hope that those of you who are in a neighborhood, that you have that option to be able to be a community and share with one another what your resources are. So, but I'm going to stop talking because I need to. Folks, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day, and may God bless you.